Back at it again. Hi again, everybody. Kyle Bruzak here. You can see behind me talking about the NHL Stadium Series. But first, before we do that, John Henderson gave a special report earlier this week.
Thanks, Kyle. Do you remember the former Cavalier Delonte West? It's not been good for him. He's been seen walking around Houston barefoot with a hospital gown on. It obviously don't look like he's in his best times. His family says he's been receiving treatment for bipolar. I just hope it helps him, because if it don't help him, he's gonna be so much. It's not gonna be good for him. That's all I can say. Back to you, Kyle.
Hopefully, in the weeks that come, it all works out for Delonte and his family down in Texas. But on a brighter note, you see behind me that Coors Light NHL Stadium Series took place last weekend and a weekend before. And it's also combined with a third game called the Winter Classic that always takes place New Year's Day or around New Year's Day, depending on the situation or day. But it was this past weekend, it was the Avalanche and the Detroit Red Wings at Coors Field taking center stage. As quite a game it was. It all started off, the Avalanche had total control about the first period and a half, were dominating, and Detroit finally, as they are a playoff team, stepped up and said, you know what, we ain't gonna have that, and took over and beat by a score of 5-3. Red Wings beat the Avalanche. So both teams are actually in the playoffs, which I am kind of surprised. I haven't been following the standings much, but the Avalanche are a surprising team, because past few years, they have not been an NHL playoff team. In 2013, I believe, or 14 were the only time they've actually made the playoffs. As they lost to the Wild, and I want to say game 6 or 7, but has never gotten past the first round, unlike Detroit, who's gone past the first round as well, who has won Stanley Cups with their team and have very well-respected Hall of Famers on there, and has definitely deserved my respect in those Hall of Famers. But those Coors Light Stadium Series games, it's a blast. You go out there. I've never been to one personally, which I would really want to go as I get older, but it's been really a blast over the past. I think they started a couple years ago out west with out west games, which I don't agree with out west, because you got to deal with the weather and the conditions, and it's just rain. But out east, you can deal with the snow and much cooler temperatures, where it's more easier to leave the ice where it is. You don't have to worry about the temperature of the ice or anything. But out east, if the NHL has to make a decision, stay out east, it's the best fit for them. And who played this year's Winter Classic was the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens, biggest rivals in hockey. One of the original 6 took center stage as a slugging Montreal Canadiens team came out to beat a surging Boston Bruins team by a score of 5-1, which was embarrassing on home ice for the Bruins. And then the other embarrassing was the other stadium series that was in Minnesota. It was the Blackhawks of Chicago taking on the Minnesota Wild, and that was a shellacking in itself. 6-0 Minnesota win, and that was very embarrassing. As what all good playoff teams do, Chicago came back the next day, beat Nashville, I believe, and won that game. But now, that's all I have. But one day. Well, thank you for joining us this time. We'll see you next week on another edition of Kyle Sports Rant.